Hello and welcome back to Witch on the Holy Night. My name is Maybe Dennis, and last time, well, we continue with the battle between Aoko and Alice versus Toko, where Alice and Aoko did some trick with the mirror and just charging her blast and a decoy with the bird, but after firing her laser, she found out that no, it was not enough. Toko stole a whole bunch of magic crests from other people, so she's actually like super powered. But she was like, nah, that's enough. Okay, go Beowulf. And Beowulf just mauled the two of them. They were both out of commission. And then while they're on the brink of death, Sojiro comes in and is like, oh, man, you guys didn't bring me to the party. And he ends up fighting Beowulf. And it wasn't really a fight. I don't know how there was any way Sojiro could win. And then he proved me wrong by just two-punching him and down. Beowulf his heart exploded. And after regenerating, his mind is destroyed. He's just completely done. That was really cool. I still feel like it was kind of a Deus Ex Machina BS moment, but I can't deny that was really epic. But it seems like his left arm is completely destroyed now. But with pretty much the three protagonists being very in very bad shape, I'm not exactly sure how they're gonna handle Toko, who is clearly the final boss of this game. So let's see. Toko, on the other hand, understood exactly what had transpired. Beo lay fallen, now just a sobbing boy, and another boy stood over him with two shattered arms. Near fatally wounded, Aoko and Alice still could not stand, but had recovered enough to breathe. As for Toko, she only had a few tricks up her sleeve, maybe 3 or 4 more runes at best. The magic crests on her back were unusable. She could use the remaining magical energy from the field imprisoning her grandfather, but that would be stupid. If she released her grandfather, she would lose ownership of the sacred ground. Failing to defeat Aoko and Alice now would mean starting over from square one, and she could not afford that. The sibling rivalry had to end. Toko had gambled everything on her surprise attack. Using the fact that she was still in Aozaki to infiltrate Misaki's defenses. For 3 years she had labored, selling her works to the association, and she had used 20 years worth of hair to mobilize an army of familiars. It was now or never. She had overestimated the werewolf's power. It should have been enough. It really should have. Against mages alone, Beowulf by himself would have been enough to ensure complete victory. But things did not always go according to plan. Beo's incredible strength was conditional. She knew he was not infallible, so why hadn't she prepared a contingency plan? Her heart as cold as ice, Toko stared at Sojiro, who stood tall. His arms were a hideous mess. The arms he used to strike Beo head-on barely even resembled an arm. His bones were bent out of shape. His muscles were torn to shreds. To say his arm was simply broken would be a gross understatement. Streams of crimson ran down his other arm into the white snow. The elbow he drove into Beo's back was likely shattered, and his muscles and tendons torn up to his shoulder. Judging from the state of his arms, it was doubtful that he would be able to use them again. Worse than his arms were his left leg, and no doubt his internal organs too. He had used that leg to take the full brunt of Beo's charge. At a glance, it looked fine, but it was now just a useless hunk of meat attached to his torso. His insides were worse, supporting the weight of Beo had ruptured his spine, causing widespread internal bleeding. Basically, he was a dead man standing. A bird with clipped wings. Living like that would not be living at all. He could barely stand, let alone fight again. In contrast, the collapsed werewolf was unscathed. Only once had he coughed up blood. The majority of the pool of red on the snow was Sojiro's, a crimson tapestry telling the story of the boy who stood strong and defeated a werewolf.
当然だ。衝撃には反動が伴う。拳を振るうのなら相応の負担がある。まして相手は人狼。走ってくる鉄の壁を真っ向から殴るようなものだ。それを。
Perhaps he had known what would happen. Animals instinctively limit their strength in order to protect their bodies. Compensating for the physical weakness with intellect and techniques was humanity's forte, and that clash had shown humans at their very best, and yet it had also been beyond humans. He had attacked without concern for his own safety. Without self-preservation in mind, he could go beyond human capabilities. enough to strike through the steel-like fur of a legendary werewolf. But who would have thought that a beast able to withstand a shot from a tank would be felled by a mere human?
いや、違う。ためらうことなく殴りつけたから壊れたのではない。初めからあれは壊すことを前提にしていたな。
He sacrificed his entire body to destroy Bao's heart. Toko felt the chill come over her as she went over in her head what had transpired. It should have been a nightmarish scene, but she was captivated by that supreme display of physical rationality. From the outside looking in, she had witnessed not an accident, but a rational consequence. In that instant, the boy had put his entire being into piercing Bao's chest. As soon as he laid eyes on Aoko and Alice, he had committed himself fully to the task. He sized Bao up, synchronized his breathing, and found his weak points, and calculated the exact position, timing, and distance he would need to hold his ground. He knew what he had to do to win, and did it with everything he had. It had nothing to do with instinct. A wild creature would not have tried to beat something that it could not. Only a human would risk his life when faced with the impossible. The contradiction fed his attack. He twisted his body from his heel to his neck to focus his energy. If Bao had simply tried to run Sojiro down, the werewolf probably would have won. But the beast wanted to rip him to shreds. Or rather, he was baited into doing so. After Bao charged, when he planted his feet, he raised his claw, then swung it downward, putting himself off balance. His pulse was erratic, his movements wild. In that moment, he was vulnerable. That was when Sojiro made his move. The beast had overwhelming power, but it was sloppy, whereas the human concentrated all of his meager power into a single point. That was how the human shifted the balance in his favor. The follow-up elbow attack would rupture Bao's heart. It was a graceless second strike. A sloppy blow, no different than from Bao's. The elbow was only able to penetrate the golden beast's fur because of the first attack to his chest.
あの時点でベオは丸裸にされていた。無敵の人狼がその機能の一切を休止させられた。つまり
The strike was not meant to break, but to disable. All living creatures had weaknesses. No matter how strong the creature, it had weak points and weak moments. Not just physically, but mentally too. A time when they aren't in their best shape. Unable to focus or find motivation. Sickness or lack of sleep or food, for examples, can cause the body's rhythm to go out of sync. For a variety of reasons, intelligent beings risk losing their ability to function properly. Legendary beasts were no exception.
弱点、欠点をつく魔術なら知っているが、全てを投げ打って弱点を生むとはな。
The boy's strike to the heart was not an attempt to kill Bao. It was designed to create a weakness in something that had none. The elbow attack took advantage of that break in Bao's invulnerability.
加えて、笑えることに不意打ちですらない。ベオの神経の伝達速度なら、毒が当たった瞬間に感知し対応できる。だが、そもそもそれを毒と認識できなければ、変形のしようもない。毒ではないものが毒になるなんて落とし穴を誰が教えてやれるものか。
It was a combination of just Beowulf's arrogance and just lack of care because he thought he was the best. She was frustrated, to say the least. The boy was totally committed, utterly selfless. He bet his life on that single moment without expecting a single thing in return. That boy had acquired the experience and skill to do such a thing. It was not a miracle of luck, nor a miracle of passion. It was not talent, tenacity, or hatred. Without constant, intense training, no one could destroy their own body on a whim like that. So is that suggesting something? That, like, he had training to do this?
子供には相手が悪かったようね。
Seeing Bao cowering in the snow, Toko was disappointed in her own lack of foresight, even though she always plans 5 steps ahead. She had used him for his talent alone, ignoring his inexperience. If Bao was not a child, His life experience might have given him the strength to bounce back and devour Sojiro after regenerating.
ベオを責めるべきか、それとも君を評価すべきなのか。
Toko quietly lifted her left hand. Nobody noticed. Standing far away, the boy standing there looked like a hunter from a picture book. He had a slender build, but that was likely because he had intentionally shed any excess. Given what she had just witnessed, his cluelessness had to be part of an act, the act of a hunter. As she thought to herself, she suddenly remembered. The first thing that crossed her mind the first time they spoke.
そうだったな。だが、それは忘れていたかったよ、宗十郎君。
No sooner had she felt a slither of sentiment, she returned to her unshakable resolve. She was raised at the heir of the Aozaki household, taught never to question the morality of her actions. That was why, even now, oh no, she's gonna kill him. She knew exactly what she had to do. No! Everyone's down.
でも、よかった。
Sojiro muttered, unmoving, perhaps because of the pain in his broken arm. He did not look at Aoko. Instead, his gaze was focused on Alice, who was lying prone some way away. Aoko thought he looked lonely.
よかったって何がよ。
She asked, spurring him on. They were mere steps from each other, close enough to touch hands. Their quiet voices carried in the stillness.
私たちが無事だったから、なんて言ったら怒るわよ。
She was not joking. Sojo turned away from her slightly, shaking his head.
口にするのは3度目だけど、青崎の心配はしていないんだ。
Never have been.
いや、さっきはちょっと意識が飛んだようなんだけど。
He said, as an embarrassed smile crossed his face. The first time, he outright fainted, but the second time, his passion pushed the dizziness and nausea aside. He just calmly did what he could as best as he could. Nevertheless, no matter how calm he tried to be, deep within festered a very real rage.
じゃあ何が良かったのよ、宗十郎。
Aoko's voice had a slight tinge of annoyance. Sojiro responded, sounds like she's doing a lot better now.
だって、ようやく約束が守れた。そっちだけが約束を守ってるのに、こっちは果たせなかっただろう。
He's thinking back to the amusement park. The first task he was given was to distract the automaton and it just ran away from me. He's like, oh crap.
それがずっと気になっていたんだ。その機会があって本当に良かった。
Even though Aoko said that he did enough to pay everything back because of his act with the roller coaster and the egg thing, his relief expressed itself as a small but heartfelt smile. Aoko listened, astonished. For a moment, she could not recall what promise Sojo was talking about. When she remembered what he was talking about, what she had told him all that time ago in the amusement park, her mind went blank.
あいつをやっつけるのに協力したら、俺のことは見逃してくれる?
He proposed the deal, but in the end, he hadn't been of any use. He must have been eating away at him this entire time. Aoko had considered the agreement binding, but only for herself.
あんなどうでもいいことを。
She muttered in disbelief. Sojo gave a nod and affirmed with a tiny voice.
約束は自分のために果たすものだって教えてくれたのは青崎だ。
That's why he was so committed. Because yeah.
だから君が守っている限り俺も守らないといけない。ずっと俺はそうしたかったんだ。
As if listening to a confessional, Aoko stayed silent. She could not find the words to say, anyways. Sojo proved ever the enigma, taking such a trivial promise so seriously and speaking so sincerely about something so basic. She could not wrap her head around how he had been a werewolf, but his personality? That was a true mystery. It was no use trying to figure that out now. To Aoko Aozaki, he was a riddle wrapped in an enigma wrapped in a conundrum.
それじゃあ、借りは返したから帳尻はゼロだ。これで貸し借りはなしだぞ。 青崎。
He just leaves, Sojo said lightly, perhaps attempting to break the silence. Normally, this would have passed her by, but she saw his kindness for what it was.
貸しがついたのはこっちの方よ。これじゃあどうやって返していいかわからないじゃない。
Sojo nodded in happy agreement.
それより、青崎の足、なんか塞がってるな。
Oh, I kinda like this.
もしかして、もう立てるのか？
Oh, look at him. Oh no, I feel something bad coming. They're taking too much time talking. She shot him a stubborn look as if to say, well, duh, obviously. Ever amazed by her grit, he offered her his right hand. Despite being broken at the elbow, to Aoko it looked as sturdy as ever. By all appearances, it would be beyond recovery, and would be for the rest of his life. Even so, he seemed able to ignore the pain for Aoko's sake.
ほんと、あんたってバカ。
She uttered under her breath, looking up at him. As much as she hated to admit, she could not refuse his hand. Resigning herself, she reached out to Sojiro. But her hand never reached his. Oh no. A small bell chimed. A line of wind whipped through the air. It cut through his wrist like a guillotine. Oh no. Oh my god. He's two pieces now. No. Ah. No. I don't think he's gonna recover from that. Oh no. Is there time travel magic? Can you put him back? Please. Oh my god. I mean, I knew Toko was gonna attack during this time because they're just talking so much. I knew the moment he reached out his hand that was gonna happen. I didn't think it would be this brutal, but oh my god. Oh. Okay. How are they gonna get out of this? I don't know. I really love Sojiro. I don't want him to die. The pieces began to fall. What were those things dropping before her eyes? Aoko could not remember who they belonged to.
Sojiro?
That used to be his name, right? The name of whoever laid in the red snow in front of her. His face now rested on the ground beneath her chin. The smell of viscera assaulted her nostrils. A river of blood flowed from what used to be a stomach. It happened so fast. Too fast for her mind to process, in fact. Her only solace was that he probably did not suffer. How could she think that so calmly, especially after what she had witnessed? Her blood boiled at her own stupidity. Which begged the question, how should she treat the one who did this? She had used up all of her anger on herself. She had none left to give to anyone else. But this hatred was hers and hers alone. Her problem was this. Could she muster the emotions from this drought of anger? She was not sure, but the thought of hunting them down made her smile unconsciously in anticipation. Aoko turned to the old school building, to where Toko was standing with her arm out in front of her. She had used the same runecraft magic she used against Aoko and Alice, except Sojiro had no magic crests. Toko's amber eyes were narrowed, staring intensely at the fallen corpse. As to what she might have been feeling, Aoko could not care less. Even if Toko felt regret, Aoko would not forgive her for as long as she drew breath.
やはり君からこうしておくべきだったな。
Toko was not speaking to Aoko, but the dead body. There was no response. No clouds of breath. Coming to terms that he was truly dead, Aoko pushed herself up to her feet.
案外無様ね。
Facing her sister in the distance, Aoko spoke hoarsely.
でも正しい選択だわ。これで勝負はやり直しだもの。
She turned away from Sojiro and stared at Aoko. They stood far apart. Further apart than their positions made them seem. Oh my god. Oh, I'm still stressed. And because of what happened to Sojiro. Though there was nothing left to say, the two of them exchanged words in the respect of the fact that they were once sisters.
ああ、魔術刻印という私の切り札はこの通りで、人狼というカードもお前の切り札の前に敗れ去った。
True, that is true.
だが、そちらも刻印を使い切り、彼も今息絶えた。
Oh man, that was more of a joker. We didn't even know what he was going to be able to do.
互いに決定打はなくなったわけだ。
Stalemate.
そうね。私も甘かった。人狼が再起不能になった時点で、あなたが敗北を認めたなんて勝手に思い上がるんだから。本来ならそうなるんだけど、あなたがそんなに諦めがいいのなら、この町に戻ってきはしないものね。本当に甘かった。
It was clear to Toko that Aoko was trying to suppress her emotions. Aoko was right though. Her sister had counted on Beowulf to succeed. As mages, no matter what cards Aoko or Alice had in their hands, they were helpless against the werewolf. But then Sojiro had shown up, and Toko couldn't win as long as he was around. Unfortunately, though he had stopped the werewolf, he had been defenseless against a mage. So she had to kill him. With Sojiro out of the way, no one could hold Beo back. It would take time for him to recover, but as long as his wounds were only mental, that could be overcome. Alice and Aoko could try to counterattack again before he recovered, but Alice was being kept in check by the poison, so Toko still had the advantage. Stalemate, still. The battle would drag on. Unless Aoko were to use it. Please have some weird miracle. Oh, okay. Let's see this picture. Oh god, she looks like she's about to go Super Saiyan. Powdery snow began to whirl around. The air around her wailed. It was magecraft that transcended all that was mystical. The gate to miracles beyond human comprehension was ready to show itself.
やる気のようね、青子。
Toko released the crest maintaining the fields. With that, her grandfather would be freed, and the barriers around Misaki City would be restored. Which was not what Toko wanted, but it was that or to forfeit her life. The crests at her disposal were now twice as powerful as her sisters. Aoko gazed at this new threat with her eyes half closed. None of this was her concern. Far removed from the situation, she was searching for something hidden deeper inside herself, desperate to reach it. There it was, an odd feeling, like picking up algae. It was not the fire of emotion, it was not solid, nor great. It must have been people meant by rising to the occasion, but I think it's supposed to be, it must be what people mean by rising to the occasion. Abandoning thought itself, Aoko held on to that feeling as she stared at her enemy.
いいわよ、トウコ。
She spoke softly, yet more loudly than a scream.
お望み通り、本当の魔法を見せてあげる。
Okay. Oh man. I know true magic is not as versatile as magecraft, but can do something, one specific magecraft that goes beyond reality essentially. That can perform miracles essentially. And I hope that's able to save Sojiro somehow because he didn't deserve that, man. Don't do it. Focusing her power into the dim crest on her right arm, she weaved the words together. A single incantation. A final heartfelt farewell. A brilliant blue-colored magic, taking time back to when a certain someone had been blessed. Wait, taking time back? Can she actually like go back in time? To put it simply, magecraft is human wisdom. It is the world as we know it. Magic is a singularity that exists beyond either of those. At the beginning, the first changed all. Next, the second recognized many. In answer, the third showed the future. Untethered, the fourth concealed itself. And the final fifth had long since lost its significance. Someone once said, had it only ended at the third. Magecraft is a study of history, feats of our making, and life orbiting the planet. But true magic is the providence of a god beyond the heavens. Why do those who stand on the earth extol the virtues of miracles beyond humankind and the planet? This was an undeniable sin. Magic was the enemy of humanity. That is why those who obtain a new magic are killed by the Red Shadow. Oh, that's what that is.
聞け、万物の霊長。
Hear me, prime species of all creation. Alko's voice resonated through and high above the winter skies. The air began to fracture, turning the scenery to broken glass. Toko wondered whether she should fight or flee. She no longer has a counter to true magic. Her only counter was Beowulf, and judging from what it said, I don't know if it's a strong enough mystic to, despite being extremely powerful. She decided to try and keep her feelings in check and see this through. But the object of her obsession for so many years was right in front of her. Rationality was slipping from her grasp. Both of their fates were now uncertain. Toko had an overwhelming advantage when it came to her crest and the terrain. When it came to true magic, however, if the Aozaki magic was anything like Alice Kuonji's fairy tale monsters, then mage strength was not a part of the equation. At this point, it was Toko against magic itself, and there was no winning against truth. The transcendence and idiosyncrasy of true magic rendered things like magecraft irrelevant.
だが
Toko stared at her sister, wondering if she could actually use it. Her proclamation lacked conviction. She had raised her voice, but that was out of discipline. It had not been the arrogant conviction to sacrifice someone else for her own gain. Having not been chosen to inherit it, Toko could not imagine what the magic in her sister was. Only that it was a force violent enough to change the world. No human mind could withstand the audacity required to make an enemy of the world itself. Especially not someone as indecisive as her sister. The power of magic would surely cripple her. Oh my god, she's going to do it. Feeling Toko's eyes on her, Alko doubted herself. She could not help but hesitate. Terror gripped her heart tighter.
でも、だからって。
She could not run away forever. Her hesitation and terror meant that she would never forgive herself for stopping now. Closing her eyes, she pushed herself into the final stage. This was something that she wanted to use, like she never wanted to use, even at the cost of death. Time stopped, like a light being switched off. She submerged herself into her own darkness. Everything froze, only she moved. Everything around her disappeared as she passed a limitless stream of stars. And as soon as she did, she wanted to disappear into the empty, thoughtlessness place that she arrived in without any answers. Not again. The red shadow will surely come this time. Suddenly, I saw a new memory. Possibly because I used another to make the trade for... Is that magic? I heard a familiar yet new sound. I wish for nothing. I seek nothing. Oh, they're like, no, you're good to go. You can use it. Only to fuse with the consciousness. Oh, never mind. That hurtles backwards in time to zero. This sound, the bitter, sad meaninglessness pulls me by the hair. But I have to resist. The red ghost was always going to be my biggest hurdle. I must forget the value of life. I must forget the dignity of death. The sound persists. It's got nothing to do with this journey. It's just an external distraction. And yet, I think I finally understand. I know what noise has been making me so uneasy. What the... The unsettling whispers were directed at me, or perhaps the red shadow was perplexed by the quiet soul listening to it. It glares at me, its eyes full of hatred. How could I be so unprepared? Don't tell me. You can't be serious. You're going to turn me into your prey for that? That is your everything. You have nothing else. The effect of rewinding, the decision to never say no. Yeah, it's rewind. It's rewind time. Yeah, he's gonna bring back her boy. His prime, his meaningless life. She negated it. She used her superior power to negate the sound, which was an absolute rule to him. Just brushed it aside like it was a cobweb. The sound disappeared. A new one replaced it. I wish for nothing. I want nothing. A pure obedient heart. That's why you get nothing. A life of falsehood led by affirmation. This is ridiculous. My legs move towards the future, but they stop. Change of plans. I'm taking a different path. Nothing's changed. It's just something has made me real mad. How can I put it? Alright. You call this the past, you idiot? If I don't complain about something to someone, I'll explode. Even if it's just the voice, or to he who hears it, or to the part of me who just stays quiet and watches, or to the one who did that to him. With no answer, I open my eyes. I declare. Alko released everything she had dragged up. As for what was there, or what she saw, she could not remember. All she held on to was the fury that burned in her heart. Pushed by something, she did not know what, she opened the door to the magic. The change was extraordinary. Oh, she's at grass there now. Did she burn away all the snow? Beneath her, the snow vanished, replaced by a small patch of lush green grass. The ground had never existed under the frozen blanket. It had been rewritten into a new landscape. The very elements rejected her, as if the world itself was fighting back. The electrical discharge lashed at her body. This miracle threatened to destroy the world. The world had to protect itself. It moved to expunge her. Oh. Pain scorched her every cell, trying to tear away her consciousness. She has the universe inside her, but she did not falter. All this pain and this loneliness was to take her to the root. Ever since inheriting true magic, she had suffered this torture time and time again. She contended against the voiceless protests of the cosmos. The burden engulfed her retinas and nerves in flames. And then... light. She finally understood. She remembers why she came back and what she wanted to scream. By the name of Blue, I speak for order. Hear me. A censoring voice told her to stop. At the edges of oblivion, her hands touched the true form of magic. The snarling red shadow was there, telling her it was no use. So much doubt, so much fear. But such things mean nothing to her, to me. I don't care about a magician's obligations or destruction of mankind. I'm sick and tired of hearing about it. I only have one reason for doing anything right now. God, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. I just want to save him. Yes! Save him! Save our boy!
No. Save.
All is not sane, yet all shall be right. A blue whirlwind whisked up around her. Casting aside her doubt and sorrow, the magician played her trick upon the world. Oh! Oh, wow. I guess she's altering reality itself. Time flowed backwards. Yes! Wow, that looks pretty cool actually. Okay, you don't need to go that far. Childhood memories were overwritten. Oh! White flowers appeared, as far as the eyes could see. Brighter than snow, they rippled like waves across the world, devouring it. Oh! There we go!
タイムレスワン
Oh, okay, I thought she was gonna continue talking. 5 timeless words. Order has fallen to ruin. Oh, she's got red hair now, just like her sister. What was declared had come to be. In this time and place alone, the fifth magic made itself known. In the blink of an eye, the snowy clearing had transformed. A sea of fully bloomed white flowers blanketed the ground. Only the dilapidated school building and the bare winter trees signified this was the original world. The once cold wind now blew with a pleasant warmth across the landscape. Even the night sky was once again teeming with stars. If one reached out, one could almost touch them. It was a mix of comfort and solitude, quiet enough to carry the sound of insects flying through the air. And this music is really going in. A scene far removed from the impurity and grief of humans. A world with nothing, yet one that needed nothing. It was his most precious memory. The winter tundra had changed into a spring meadow. Aoko's so-called true magic confused Toko. Sure, it was pleasing to the eye, but she had wanted to see something less idyllic. Aoko's spell was clearly no small feat, but the surrounding mana had not changed. Better to be confused, though, than deal with something that like Alice Kuonji's flat snark. The only changes seemed to be the flower field, and Aoko's appearance. Wait, I don't think... Wait, where did she get... I was like, was that appearance like just maybe her school uniform with her jacket off? No, she didn't have jeans. I actually mentioned that before. She was wearing a skirt. Where did she get those? Whatever. She seemed to have received some enhancement to her physical form, but would never be enough to match Toko.
確かに魔法といえば魔法だが
Toko said with a hint of annoyance.
あいにくとお互い夢見る年頃ではないんだまさかそれで終わりではないだろ
Surely. This can't be it. I'm just imagining it's like, I can control time. I already know, you've already lost. Aoko began walking through the sea of flowers. But she was not heading towards Toko.
いえ、これでおしまいよ。私も、あなたも。
Ako's words sent a wave of unease through Toko. Her sister's voice seemed different somehow. It was mostly the same in pitch, so it had to be the tone. No, that was the same too. Something was off. Could it be? It was then Toko noticed something else that had changed. Not just Aoko and the clearing. The severed body lying at Aoko's feet. It was now whole. Yeah! Quartz reanimation? Wound healing? It did not look like Aoko had used a significant formula, and besides, regenerating a body did not bring it back to life. Since the dawn of time, even true magic has never been able to bring back the dead. But the body of the boy behind Aoko was moving. It was breathing like it was taking a nap.
死者の蘇生が青崎の魔法
Oh, you know, I'll take it too.
あれは蘇生というより
Before she could think of an answer, Toko's realized what had seemed out of place to her before. Aoko's mannerisms appear beyond her years. Her appearance had changed ever so slightly, but beyond there had been a change from within. By the time Toko arrived at that seemingly impossible conclusion, Aoko had closed the distance between them.
ターブ、セット。
Circuit connected. Aoko raised her left hand to eye level. Oh god! A true magic blast this time? Toko could see, no, hear the magical energy gathering inside Aoko. It was a sound Toko had never heard before. Aoko only possessed a single function, a low-grade circuit, no better than any other third-rate mage, so she generated magical energy at a much lower rate than Toko. However, this speed was absurdly quick, moving even faster than the blood pumping through her body. Magecraft could vibrate, but how in the hell were the activated magic circuits audible? Even the association had never heard of such a thing.
我が目前に勝利ありき。
Spurred to action by the sudden dread she felt, Toko hurriedly carved runes into the air. Toko summoned the divine protection of victory, Ter, to surround herself with a barrier, which was further enhanced by her crest. Paying it no mind, Aoko held her arm steady, not moving it to strike her target directly.
まだ展開。
Bullets, deploy. Aoko commanded herself succinctly. Ooh, they're all gone! This was beyond magecraft. In just a few words, she had fired 20 magic bullets. Like a meteor shower, the bullets smashed through the rocket-proof ruin barrier, as well as Toko's spell-woven coat. The protective runes lining her coat screamed. They would not be able to take another barrage like that. And she had already taken internal injuries. She loathed to admit it, but Aoko vastly outclassed Toko in terms of raw power. Even hard to admit was that her sister probably had not even brought out the big guns yet. Jumping backwards, Toko drew more runic symbols into the air. In response, her crest burned brightly. But... with a single word, Aoko nullified the runes, dissolving them before they could even be given meaning. The power of Aoko's words had surpassed the magical energy of Toko's rune magecraft. With the runes nullified, Aoko continued to advancing through the white flowers. From her calmness to the robust spinning of her magic circuits, and her breathing, she was different. A woman of sublime self-control, a trait only found in mages with a lifetime of combat experience. Yeah, timey-wimey stuff, let's go! Given the evidence, that was the only explanation for Aozaki magic. Aoko's magic circuits had not been amplified. That would have been impossible anyways. Like Toko, she would have to externalize them, which would just increase the scope of her magical energy and techniques. By nature, the quality of a mage's magic circuits did not change, but Aoko was now clearly a superior mage to Toko. So there was only one logical conclusion. In an instant, she had grown from the amateur to a veteran. She fast-forwarded her own time. The scarred red mage turned her back to her sister and ran. She knew that she could not win, so she fled towards the old school building. Aoko did not fire. Not out of pity, but because she deduced that an attack at this range was risky. She went to chase after her sister, but stopped suddenly. A few words caught in her throat. She took a small breath. Yeah, oh my god. Oh, she is echoing too. Okay, I guess, oh my god, she's super strong now. She said, slightly embarrassed by the maturity of her voice. White petals flitted through the air. Without looking back, she made after Toko, her long hair flowing behind her. Whoa, it's this music? Like the daily life, let's go to class music? Huh, I'm still alive. His eyelids snapped open. At last, Sojiro, yeah, he woke from his slumber, he's alive! Lying on his back, he gazed up at the stars. The trees around him created a porthole into space. Despite seeing all this for the first time, he felt an uncomfortable sense of déjà vu. So many questions. What had happened before you fell asleep? Why had he been sleeping? Everything was just so hazy. It was like he had walked out of a door one minute and woken up in bed the next. With so many thoughts clouding his mind, he could barely recall his own name. All he could remember was a girl he'd never seen before, and something thin around his neck.
しずきくん。
Oh, okay. Was he about to forget everything just now? The voice, quiet but clear, belonged to the girl named Alice Kuonji, who was at his side.
そういえば、そうだ。
It's like, oh. He sat up, mumbling incoherently. Oh, look at her with the flowers. Oh. The black-clad girl knelt next to him.
花だ。
He said, paying no mind to Alice. Under the blue moonlight, spring flowers swayed, surrounded by dead trees and snow. Against the current of night, white petals dance in the breeze like butterflies. Oh my god. Staring long and hard at the spectacle, Sojiro suddenly raised his fingers to his neck. He moved carefully, like he was touching a wound. Then gradually, he began squeezing, harder and harder.
しずきくん。
Oh. The voice of the girl beside him brought him back to reality.
せっかく戻れたのに。また行くの？
She sounded both sad and reproachful. Was he trying to... Wait, see, he put his hand around his neck. It sounded like he was trying to strangle himself. He began squeezing harder and harder, and this was... Yeah, his neck. What is... But Sojiro did not understand why. Seeing the uncharacteristic concern in her eyes snapped him to his senses.
行くってどこに？
His fingers fell away from his neck. Without answering, she blankly looked to the sky, though there was only an infinite darkness of space.
まあいいや。それより、俺は何をしてたんだろう。なんか変だ。ごちゃごちゃしてる。
Sojiro tilted his head in confusion. Alice observed him motionlessly. This bewildered boy was a far cry from the one that made short work of the werewolf. Then again, this was Sojiro. As she stared at him, she realized that she did not have an answer he could understand. So she tried asking a question. The same question she had asked him repeatedly as he slept, but eventually gave up expecting a response to.
今まで、しずきくんは何をしていたの？
Her quiet question was spoken like an enthralling spell of magecraft. Said spell seemed to work, and Sojiro sank in the sea of memories. Atop the bright, white hill, they quietly sat for a while, like siblings.
誰かの声が聞こえた気がする。何かを聞いているようだった。けど、自分は最後まで一言も返せなかった。
Though consumed by the darkness of death, he could still vaguely recall the girl's question. Oh man, this is really beautiful. Oh man, let not distract you from the fact that he just died. He was not aware that he had died, but it seemed the fragment of time remained from when he had been with her. Sojiro's expressions darkened, filled with regret. So what? Yeah, since he woke up, he hasn't really mentioned anything that happened recently, so I'm not sure what exactly happened to him. Looking at his profile, Alice pressed him further.
それで、欲しいものは見つかった？
Remembering that someone had asked him questions, he gave a slight nod.
ああ、そうだった。けれどね、アリス。そんなものは見つからないって思っていたんだ。
Okay, if he remembers Alice, then it was, at the very least, after the stuff with the Night of Witches.
ずっとそう思っていた。
I want to say it's probably after he had a conversation with Father Airy too, because it seems like he said he found what he was looking for. The regret in his voice was accompanied by a hint of strength. Lowering his gaze, Sojiro saw a white flower garden that looked like something from the afterlife. Oh man, wouldn't you know? It shone brightly, captivating him.
思い出した。青子の前でざっくり言ったんだっけ。
Okay, he remembers everything.
なのに生きているのはどういうことなんだろう。
Sojiro said, prodding his body curiously. His arms were their old selves again, but what of Aoko? Turning towards Alice for an answer, who sat amongst the flowers, looking sullen.
巻き戻されたのよ、しずきくんは。この風景も本来はあなたの記憶だけど、わからない。
This place is from your memories. Huh. Alice seemed to be speaking in riddles.
俺の記憶って、その割には知らないところなんだけど。
Yeah, just the two of them in a sea of flowers. Oh man, just kind of like the ending of Opus Echo Star Song.
今しずきくんの時間は青子に使われているから、それが戻されるまで思い出すことはないわ。
Right now, your time is being used by Aoko. Until that time is returned, you won't be able to remember. That doesn't really make too much sense to me. Let's keep going. She answered ominously as she cast her gaze over the flower garden.
でもこれが消えてしまうのは残念ね。元に戻れば思い返せるのは私だけなのに。
Aww. Looking at the white blossoms, she smiled momentarily.
おう。
Her words only confused him further.
アリス、君答える気がないんだろう。
He said dejectedly, prompting Alice to face him. What emotions lay inside those deep eyes?
意味のない話だけど聞きたい？
聞きたい。アリスが教えてくれるならなおさらだ。
Sojiro nodded enthusiastically, while Alice took a deep breath and closed her eyes. When she spoke in as caring a tone as she was capable of.
結論だけ言うと、あなたは一度死んで生き返ったの。
Yep.
しずきくんが瞳子さんに殺されてから、青子が目を覚ますまでの5分間分の時間を巻き戻して。
Ah, okay, 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
その時、あなたは10年近い年月を青子に使われた。
What does that mean? She used 10 years of your time.
二人とも肉体年齢は変わってないから、中の時間だけ持っていったんでしょうね。
Neither of you changed physically, so she must have borrowed time from you mentally? Does that mean taking 10 years of his memories? I don't really understand.
だから今、この景色を懐かしく思えるのは青子だけ。
This beautiful scenery would only bring back memories for Aoko, in possession of your... I don't
そし
understand.
て、
And once the time exchange was over, neither Aoko nor Sojiro would remember what happened during these moments. When Aoko used someone else to channel her true magic, it did not affect her alone. If she had rewound time for only herself, the temporal inconsistencies would form a part of her own experience. However, this was proper time travel. The inconsistencies would be corrected. When the magic ended, both Aoko's memories of this place and Sojiro's unfamiliarity with it would be corrected. This miracle would become unrealized. Only the observer would remember this brilliant white sea of flowers, Alice and Toko.
時間を持っていく？
Okay, he's as confused as I am. Sojiro asked, his head tilting even further at Alice's general explanation. She recalled how Aoko said that if you gave Sojiro a roundabout answer, he would stop asking questions, even if she did not comprehend it.
しずきくんを生き返らせる方法はなかったから、命の復元より死そのものの回避を青子は試みたのよ。まだ青子には無理なのか、それとも今回もひよったのか。大きな操作は避けて小さな操作、自分とあなただけの交換にとどめたよね。
Avoided any large-scale manipulation and settled for a smaller exchange.
あなたは今5分間だけ時間を飛んだことになるわ。
I guess, like, it was just a minor change to the world, so they're like, okay, you won't get punished for it too much? I don't know.
仮に遠い未来、この時間を検索できる人がいたとしても、あなただけは誰にも見つけられない。
Is it
だっ
like...
て時間軸の上にいなかったんですもん。
Is it like King Crimson? Did she erase time?
そして同時に、青子は自分の時間を上乗せするために、あなたから時間を借り受けた。
So what I'm getting is, like, she said those 5 minutes that where you died, I took it and it no longer exists, so you're still alive. But I also used it to advance my own time. Oh!
多分幼年期の時間でしょうね。個人の時間操作は忘却している部分の方が楽だと聞くし。
So she stole time from his childhood, but it's fine because most children don't remember most people don't remember a lot of their childhood. So it just doesn't really make too much sense to me. Should I slow down? Alice asked with her eyes. All Sojiro could do was nod.
つまり2つの奇跡を青子は行使したの。あなたの体の巻き戻しと自分の体の早送りね。しずきくんの時間に介入する際、ついでに10年分の時間を借り受けて未来の自分を持ってきた。だから今瞳子さんを殺そうとしているのは27歳分の時間を持った青崎青子ということになるわ。
I guess so. So it's like it's not really like stealing memories per se, but it's like those things that you would experience. She erased it from the timeline, so that and used it for herself. That is such a weird concept for me to grasp, to be honest. What on earth was Alice talking about? Sojiro's expression gave away his thoughts, though the part about Toko made him furrow his brow.
瞳子さんを殺すって青子が。
もう終わってるでしょうけど。
As soon as Alice answered, Sojiro sped off. Kicking up white petals behind him as he ran, the brave boy who defeated a werewolf was back. Alice watched him go. On a snowy night, the same boy ran down Shiro Inuzuka Hill for her too. Sojiro entered the old school building. Oh, so now he's going to save Toko, probably. You know, not to save Toko, but to make it so that the sisters don't fight. Sojiro entered the old school building. Lights flashed and the sound of destruction exploded around him, threatening to turn the area into a burial ground. Still, he remained focused.
ほら。悪いけれど、やっぱり無駄だったわ。青子。
It's like, you told me to watch him, but he just left, so... Her words only reached the white flowers around her. Aoko knew Sojiro too well, so she wanted Alice to stop him. If he tried to interfere with the battle against Toko, she could not protect him this time. But it was too late to celebrate Aoko's judgment now. The girl in black had no intention of going after him. She simply sat for a while, gazing forlornly at the transient flower garden. Ah, okay. Wow, there is still more. She's like, oh crap. Oh man. Okay, this might be a weird spot, but... And, you know, I'm gonna regret this probably. But I'm gonna end it here for today. That was... Oh my god, a lot of stuff happened. First, it was like the aftermath of the Sojiro versus Beowulf. And then Sojiro just gets chopped in half. Hey, oh my god, I was just so speechless for a little bit because, like... I really like Sojiro. I don't want him to die. Oh man. But yeah, I'm glad they brought him back. Even though it was kind of... I mean, they heavily, like, foreshadowed what true magic could do. Well, not really what it could do, but how powerful it was. So I'm not too surprised that it had the ability to, I guess, take and remove time, which is still a really bizarre concept to me. But it definitely answers one of the questions that I've had for a while regarding Aoko. I don't know if I've mentioned this before. I think I might not have because I want to avoid spoilers. But Aoko in every other Nasuverse media has red hair and blue eyes. She's always had blue eyes, but like she's had red hair, so this is going to be a permanent change. And throughout this entire game, she had brown hair. I didn't realize that the true magic was going to be the activation for it. But I mean, this is her iconic look. I don't know what else to say. It's pretty cool. And that scene where she just kind of like traveled through the seasons was really cool as well. And of course, the beautiful scenery of the Sea of Flowers. Oh man, but now that the ball's in our park, I think Alco's gonna steamroll Toko now. I don't really know what Toko can do in the face of this true magic. Like she said, she had all of her cards out, and she doesn't really have anything else that she can do to defend herself. I think her only way to survive is if Sojo, you know, steps in and tells Aoko not to kill Toko, because he didn't want Toko to kill Aoko either. Oh, yeah, but yeah, well, man, I really hope there isn't like 20 minutes left of the game and I'm regretting it. But I believe there's supposed to be 13 chapters, and this is the 12th chapter. I ended up looking it up after last time because I need a good feel for how much longer this series is going to be. But I want to say it's 13 chapters. That being said, I don't know how long the last chapter is. So it's very possible that next time I might just play to the end, unless it goes on for too long. But yeah, that was just a whole bunch of stuff. I'm still speechless. Oh, but that was definitely a good time. But we'll continue with this next time. And until then, I will be seeing you. See ya!